Welcome to the Making Waves at Sea Level podcast with your host, Tom Singer. In each episode, we will explore the interesting stories of business executives, entrepreneurs, and industry leaders who are shaking things up and growing their companies. It is time to make some waves. Now here's your host, Tom Singer.
Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Making Waves at Sea Level, the podcast formerly known as Cool Things Entrepreneurs Do. Hey, I've had a lot of fun hosting this show. We're coming up on episode number 600. So if you have any great ideas for guests that we should have on the show, be sure to reach out to me and let me know. I'm looking for people who are either CEOs or CFOs, CIOs, chief marketing officers, etc., of larger companies. But we also like to talk to those people who do business in and around smaller and mid-sized companies as well. And maybe it's not the people at the C-level. Maybe it's people who are helping companies reach their highest levels of success. So feel free to reach out to me at any time, Tom, T-H-O-M, at tomsinger.com. But I will give you a little secret. I'm looking for those bigger companies. So if you're working for a large company and your CEO or other C-level executive is awesome, just let me know that in the subject line. Like, my CEO is awesome would be a thing that would catch my attention probably. So today we are going to talk about how do you get noticed online? How do you have that online presence? Whether you're a small micro business, whether you're a medium-sized business, a growth-oriented business, or really, it's probably the same thing for these large companies. And today we're going to talk to a new friend of mine. We're going to talk to Teresa Touchstone, and she is the owner and CEO of Bluebonnet Visual Branding. And what she does is she helps those small and mid-sized companies, she helps them increase their online awareness. And we just had one of those little, chats, get to know each other calls the other day. She saw me speak at an event where I was sort of the featured keynote speaker, and she reached out to me and said, hey, let's talk. And we did. And while we were talking, and you've all done these let's grab coffee talks, although now we do it by Zoom. You make coffee in your house, I make coffee in my house, and we have that conversation. And usually, you just have a nice get to know somebody chat. I learned so much in 30 minutes that I immediately said, I have to have you on the show, just because of some of the tips she gave me, even without hiring her. I actually was able to do some things that will probably help my online awareness. So I said, will you come share these tips with the world? And she said, yes, let's do it tomorrow. And as you know, I love people who are ready to go. So here we are. Teresa, welcome to Making Waves at Sea Level.
Hi, Tom. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very grateful.
No, I'm glad that you're here. So let's really quickly recap. I know you kind of started your career working in the health and fitness world, working for Gold's Gym, helping them do marketing and promote themselves. And clearly you did a great job because we've all heard of Gold's Gym, right?
Yes, everybody knows who Gold's Gym is. That's for sure. They are the big dog in the gym industry.
And you worked locally helping them promote themselves. And this was probably kind of pre-internet, if not pre-internet, certainly early days of internet, right?
Early days of internet. Yeah, early 2000s. Okay. So it was a different challenge without the internet being so robust as it is now. But we figured it out. A lot of in-person things we did, a lot of promotional experiences that we provided. So it was a great base to get started for sure.
Well, and that's probably set you up to see a lot of changes in the world of social media and Google and everything else, right?
Oh my, by far, yes. How the world has, just in the last 5 years, how the internet and social media and being found online has changed.
Well, and previous to 5 years ago, social media used to be social. And it seems now like it's a lot more broadcast, but we can talk a little bit about that in a minute. So when did you make the switch over to having your own business and starting Bluebonnet Virtual Branding?
So it was almost 7 years ago. In April, it'll be 7 years. I had a friend that I'm also a massage therapist by trade. So I had a friend that was looking to bring a clinic back into Austin from Idaho. And she approached me about it. And I was like, I'm not really sure, but let's look at what you got. And she wasn't really ready to become a franchise. But then we kind of got bit by the bug, me and my business partner, and we were like, let's buy a business. So we just started searching for what would the best platform for us I needed something creative. I needed something where you help people. And when I came across this dealership, I was like, this is it. This is the thing I need to do. And so we purchased the dealership, and the rest has been history ever since. We have been extremely pleased with the growth of the business and how it has changed and evolved. So we started with indoor digital billboards. It was in Austin. It was a hard sell because Austin's very technical, and everybody I approached was like, oh, I can do that myself.
Yeah, just give me a big screen TV and a laptop and I'll have a digital billboard.
Yeah, exactly. But I was always like, well, there's so much more in depth behind it, to get to push the content and to be able to change the content. So that was really our lead into providing marketing for small to medium-sized businesses. And it was really local, hyper local. And then over the years, the company has just had a broad reach to expand and to grow into other areas of marketing services. And so we moved into the digital marketing services, and we now offer a full suite of services to increase your online awareness. Because right now, this is so important for all businesses, because people are not driving around looking for you. People are going online and Googling. And so it is so important for you to have a strong presence online.
So yesterday when we had our phone conversation, we got talking about Google My Business, which, you go into Google and you claim sort of a little bit of real estate about your business. And I had done that like a decade ago. And you were talking to me about the power of actually utilizing that to help you be found online. And I decided to log back into Google My Business, and I had like 2 pictures posted, no posts, no description of my company, just sort of it was just a thing that existed out there with nothing. And I took some of your advice, and you told me not to do it all in one day, but to spread it out month by month. So I've scheduled myself some time to work on it. But why don't you tell everybody, because we have a lot of people who are in growth-oriented businesses who listen to this. And if you want to make waves in your company, you're going to have that findability online. So let's just focus right now on Google My Business. What is it, and why does a growth-oriented company, or even a big company, why do they care?
Well, Google My Business is the platform that we lead with. It is the most important way to be found online. Google is the king of search engines. 93% of all searches happen on Google. So Google has provided this tool called Google My Business. And what Google says is if you're using their tool, then they will give you preferential treatment and move you up in the search engine list organically.
So basically, if you use Google products, your Google juice has more power.
Yes, you want all the Google boost you can get, for sure. And it's really amazing how just the simple little things that you can do with this platform can increase your online awareness. And the funny thing, there's 2 types of people that I come across, and they're either I've never heard of it, what is Google My Business, and they have not claimed their page. Or there's the other side, yeah, I've heard of that, and somebody told me that like 5 years ago, and I needed to do that. And so I went and I claimed my page and I put some pictures in there. That
second one sounds really, really familiar.
Yes. Most people are the set it and forget it type. Like they went in April of 2016, dropped in a bunch of pictures, had a professionally
earlier than that. I think it showed like when I had done it, and I didn't even know Google existed back when apparently I claimed the page.
Well, you were way ahead of the curve then, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I did nothing with it.
But you did nothing. Well, you had nobody to give you guidance.
And now here Teresa is to give me guidance.
Here I am.
All right, so let's go with this. Let's say it's a growth-oriented company. They have pretty good SEO. They get found. They show up for a couple of keywords here and there. They don't suck online, right? And they've claimed that page, but they've never done anything with it. And so they're listening to this, and they're like, thank God Tom had this topic on making waves at sea level. I'm going to go do something right now. What should they do?
Yay! Okay, what you should do is the first step. Well, the first thing you should have is once you hit 100 pictures in your Google My Business page, now you have increased your online presence by 20-fold for sure, because the pictures are very relevant to who you are and what you do.
Do I want to go and post all 100 pictures today?
No, do not go out there today and go, oh my gosh, Teresa told me I need 100 pictures. I better sit down and get to it. No, you want to spread that out. You want to start with about 20 pictures a month. And then from there, then you're just going to build your platform slowly. This is not an overnight quick fix. This isn't a plug and play. This is definitely something that takes time that you have to work at. And the more you work at it and the more you use it, then the more it works for you.
So why do I want pictures on Google My Business? Why do I even care?
The pictures are great to show who you are and what you do. We're a very humans are visual people. And so we like to see what it is that we're getting into. So when people go onto the Google My Business page, the pictures are at the very top. So most people just start clicking on the pictures. And then from there, they just work their way down the page to find what else you have relevant. But the pictures are the first start because it is at the top of the page. And it gives a lot of relevance to who you are because we are visual people.
So one of the things that I noticed on there was that I noticed there was a line that said you could make posts. So it sort of sounded like social media. And there was like a little box where you could write something. But I really didn't know what to do. It's not like it's Instagram. It's not like people are scrolling this. So why do I want to make posts within Google My Business? And how often should I do that?
Yes. So the posts, you're exactly right. It does look like a Facebook post or a Instagram post, but the posts aren't for people to see. It's for Google to see. Google spends its time all day long, 24/7, 365, reading the internet.
Well, it's not like Google. It's not like Mr. Google is doing that. It's their algorithm, right?
It's the algorithm. The algorithm is the secret to it all. And what the algorithm is today might not be in the next month. So Google likes to keep it changing and keep mixing it up. But these posts, the important thing about the posts, you should be doing at least every 3 days, if not once a week. So you need to be doing more rather than less. But the posts aren't for people to see. They are for Google to read and see. And so your post needs to be robust with your text because Google reads. It doesn't really look at the pictures. The pictures are just there to hold space. But what it wants to see is it wants to have a great description of the post. So it needs to know who you are, what you do, and where you do it, and how that applies to the picture. And then that is really because you're trying to be found in your community or in whatever your territory is of your business. So this is a really great way to be descriptive of who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
So you're just supposed to go on and just post interesting, wordy posts about the products and services that you offer, and then just sort of hope that Google's going to somehow magically find that and link back to your page.
Well, there's a secret behind it. So,
tell us the secret, Teresa.
Tell us the secret. So the secret sauce is the thing called metadata or exit data. And what that is, so any picture that you ever take with a smartphone provides this automatically. And what it provides is the latitude and longitude of where the picture was taken, as well as the date. And sometimes it gives you the information of what type device it was taken off of, whether it was an iPhone or an Android. And then from there, what we do is we can add metadata into the photograph. And so now we say that you are business X and you are in Y location and you do Z. So the more you can add into your metadata, the more then now Google is reading the picture. And so Google likes content, likes text. And what we can do, say you want to draw in business from another area of town. And so what we do is, we drop about 20 photos in a month into that area, into your Google My Business page. And what we do is we add metadata into the photograph that says that you do business in another location, a location that you're looking to break into or you're looking to grow into that area. And so with this metadata, we can add this information into your pictures. And when people go in and Google, so when people are looking for something online, they Google business near me or something nearby, whatever the business is. And how it comes up is the determining factor. So when you Google, the consumer, Google something nearby, it's going to give you a 5-mile radius around where you are. So what we're looking to do is to increase your visibility in that area by adding this metadata. So when now people Google business X nearby, and you want to be found in that territory, by adding this metadata into your photographs, you are now coming up as a player in that area of town. And so Google will serve you up because you are using their product and you are filtering the metadata.
So like I said, there were like 3 photos that existed there. I added like 5 more yesterday. I'm going to do 20 a month because I do what Teresa tells me because she's my new best friend. But here's the thing. I couldn't figure out how to do anything with the metadata. Do I do this after I've uploaded the photos? Can I go in and change it? Is it something I have to do before I upload the photos?
It's something you do before you upload the photos.
Well, that was my first mistake.
Yes. And it is something that it's basically like code. So you have to go in and add the code into the pictures. So there's a lot behind it. You know, and another thing that's
this actually is starting to sound hard, Teresa. Is there someone I could hire to do this?
Absolutely. We do provide this service to our clients. It is a very beneficial service to everybody. It's the first step to the platform of increasing your online awareness. So yes, this is something that we do provide for our clients. We provide more robust metadata photos to help you be found in any part of town that you wish to be doing business in.
Okay, so I'm not the most tech savvy guy in the world, but I'm pretty good. So let's say that I have a photo on my laptop and it's of me doing a virtual MC, an event for a live conference. And I want to add that out there and I want to put metadata behind it that basically says virtual MC for live events, whatever. How do I even do that? So I've got the photo. What do I do?
That is very detailed, and that's even over my pay grade, y'all. That's why I have a team. They handle everything for me.
Okay.
And the better your team is, the better you are. So
well, that's very true. I was just wondering if there was a way. I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to pay somebody. I want to half-ass my way through it. That's sort of the motto of my business. So I was just wondering if there was an easy way to do something.
No, it's very in-depth and very detailed, and it's kind of like writing code. So if you're a code writer, then I would be more than glad to give you the secret sauce. But it's definitely, if you know how to add metadata, and you can Google that. We're back to Google, and definitely there is YouTube videos and trainings on how to add metadata. So
I think it's easier just to hire Bluebonnet.
I think it is too. Absolutely.
Awesome. So last thing, what else do we need to know about Google My Business? So we know that we need to have photos with some metadata. We should be having posts that are keyword rich that talk about what we do. Should we be putting a link in that post to like a page on our website?
You should definitely, the more links you have in your Google My Business page, the better it is, the more robust. You also need to have a bio in there. So you need to, and it needs to be very SEO driven about who you are, what you do, and where you do it. Those are the key 3 things: who you are, what you do, and where you do it. That is what you're trying to convey to your prospects for sure.
Gotcha. So last tips on Google My Business for the average business person. What is there any other thing we should do?
And your reviews, you should be responding to your reviews. So anytime somebody writes you a Google review, it'll come up in your Google My Business page. And you should, whether it's good or bad, you should definitely, if it's good, go ahead and answer it right there online. But if it's bad, the secret is you need to provide an email address or a phone number to take it offline. You don't want to sit there and have a back and forth with somebody that had a bad experience in your establishment. you want to take that offline and help them and provide them with.
So if someone had a bad review, they could reply to it by saying, "Dear Becky, I'm sorry you had that experience. Please email me at or call me at these numbers." That way that person then responds to you directly and you're not having a war in
over the internet. Yes, exactly. Because you don't want to hang your dirty laundry out there for sure. So that is, but even
and it also to me that also shows that you're being responsive to other people who might see it. It's like, wow, Becky complained. The first thing they did was said, no, contact me directly. So in a way, you take the details offline, and at the same time, you look super responsive. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the quicker you respond, definitely the better. But so say it's a positive review. And so you want to respond back you want to repeat back basically what they said. And so you want to say it's a pizza place and the people are like, this is the best darn pizza I've ever had. And you want to repeat back that, well, we are so glad you came into our pizza parlor and we are glad that you enjoyed the supreme deep dish pizza. That's our top seller. And we really appreciate you coming in and hope you can refer us to your friends and family. So you need to kind of repeat back who you are, what you do, and where you do it.
So those are awesome tips. And I'm going to move on from Google My Business because we have, a 30, 35-minute show. But first, before I go into the next segment of what I want to ask you about, I have to thank the sponsor of this episode. So this episode, it is brought to you by Podfly Productions. Podfly, they take the time and the headache out of creating your own podcast. They set you up with the right equipment, training, and guidance to ensure that you sound amazing. Podfly does all the heavy lifting and that pesky technical work so that you can focus on creating great content, growing your audience, and interviewing really cool people like Teresa Touchstone. Hey, if you want to start a podcast, and I know that some of you do, jump over to podfly.net/cool things and check out the offer that they have for the listeners of this show. All right. So I promised there were two things we were going to cover. One was Google My Business, and two was social media. That's another thing that your company offers is you do, in addition to like website design and some other things, you guys also are for hire to be social media managers. What does a social media manager and what do you do?
Okay, so your social media is really the last piece of the pie that you want to look at, but it is very important as well. What we do, and a lot of marketing companies say, we will post 5 times a week for you for X amount of money. But we don't really take that approach. What we say is that we will manage your accounts and we will make sure, first, before we ever do a post, we want to make sure everything is congruent, everything is just like it should be, everything is SEO robust. So there is a lot of back work that happens. So the two platforms that we really focus on are Facebook and Instagram. And so and they're two different animals, even though they are owned by Facebook owns both of them. So, but on your Instagram, the most important thing that you are doing is hashtags. And you might find it crazy, but Instagram, you can use up to 30 hashtags. And they want to see all 30. It's a huge undergoing on figuring out the hashtag world, but the hashtags need to be, and that is really where most of our work goes into your Instagram page, is discovering hashtags that are relevant to you and that you want some broad, wide-ranged hashtags, like we're going to go back to the pizza idea. So like pizza parlor, hashtag pizza parlor. But if you do hashtag pizza, that's a really huge, broad range. And so, yes, tens of thousands of people use that hashtag, but as soon as they post that, tens of thousands of people are posting on top of that.
It gets pushed way down. Yeah, nobody ever sees it.
In the flood. So you need to really drill down and find more local hashtags that are appropriate for your business.
And then do you want a hashtag for your business? Like, do I want hashtag Tom Singer?
Sure, absolutely. You want to hashtag your business. So, hashtag Tom Singer speaker in Austin, Texas.
Oh, really? So like a long personalized hashtag.
Yeah. Yeah, you can add in. It doesn't have to be just a short, quick. You can add in and really to drill down and provide where you do what you do is very important to be found.
So the one thing, and tell me if this is a good idea or a bad idea, but the one thing I was told is because you can use up to 30 and because they do like it when you use more, I stored in Evernote, a list of hashtags. So I can just copy and paste. If I'm doing a business post, I have one. Right. If I'm doing a meetings industry post, I have a list. If I'm doing a podcast oriented one, I have a list. So that, is it okay to use the same hashtags over and over, or do you want to vary them up?
You want to vary them up and you want to mix them up and move them around. If you're just continuously posting the same 30 hashtags, now Instagram is going to say that possibly you're a bot.
Right.
And
so what I was told is it's a good idea to have like 20 of them in a Evernote thing, and then add a few more and add them at the front, in the middle, or at the end, so that it changes up the
yes thing. And the hashtags can be used anywhere in your post. It doesn't just have to be at the end. Like you can use it as a word in your food drive. You know, you can, as you say that in the sentence, you can hashtag food drive,
right?
As opposed to just write the word. So the hashtags can be anywhere in your post. It does not have to be at the bottom, but it is very important, so important on Instagram to have as many hashtags that are relevant as possible, but to change them up.
Yeah.
So you should have like 60 hashtags for each thing that you provide to your clients.
Right.
And then from there, depending on what you're posting about, then you decide which hashtags you're going to use.
All right. So for people who aren't going to hire you, sorry, they exist. For people who are going to try and do their social media themselves, what are the biggest mistakes people make?
Here's some big mistakes. So let's move over to Facebook. So a lot of people do they post on Instagram and then they share it over to Facebook, or either way. It usually goes Instagram to Facebook. But here's where you get in trouble, because Facebook doesn't like hashtag. They say, okay, we'll take a couple of them. Really, Facebook prefers no hashtag. But if you feel you must, one or two at the most. So if you are that person that's posting on Instagram and then sharing over to Facebook, you definitely need to go in and edit your post and take out all those hashtags and just post two that are the best drilled down hashtags that you can provide.
Nice. Give me another. I'm sure people make a lot of mistakes. Give me another mistake.
So, here's another mistake. So YouTube is owned by Google. And Facebook and Instagram are their own entity, and
they hate Google.
And they don't like each other. You are spot on, darling. That is for sure. Facebook does not like Google at all. And so Google's like, we don't really care for you either. So a very important thing is, if you are doing YouTube videos, do not take and share that video to Facebook or Instagram.
But it's so much easier, Teresa. I do it all the time. The link, it automatically, they don't hate them enough that they don't populate it. You drop in the code and they put it all in for you. It's so easy.
I know it does make it so easy, but do you want to be found is the question. So what you really need to do is upload to YouTube and then upload to Facebook.
And the same thing is actually true for LinkedIn. LinkedIn prefers native video that has been uploaded, either filmed through them or uploaded directly to them versus a YouTube link.
Absolutely. Yes. All the platforms prefer for things to be given to them organically original, as opposed to being shared from another platform. Because even though they are all the internet, the platforms do not all like each other.
Right. All right.
They're that cousin from the other side of the tracks.
So we've talked about a couple of mistakes. What are a couple of things, besides the hashtag thing, what are a couple things people doing their own social media should immediately do? Like on my next post, what should I do?
Okay. Here's a great tip. A lot of people do not know that events can be used for more than events.
So let's talk about this. So Facebook has a button that's like events. Like if you're planning a cocktail party or a networking event, you can post it in events. I've done that. I've seen that. What do you mean I can do it for something that's not an event? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yes, this is new to everybody, and a lot of people do not think about this. But what you can use events for is, say you you do gift cards. So you can use an event to let your customers know that you can purchase a gift card through them. And so many different, it doesn't have to be an event. It could be that you donate to something, or it could be, and the beauty of the events is once you create an event, then it creates a post for you.
Creates the post. Do they give a little extra Facebook juice to that?
A little oomph to that, for sure. Yes, because Facebook, again, is looking at you using their tool, and they do give preferential treatment to you using that event more than just because so many people think it's just events.
Yeah,
but really
I would have never thought of doing anything other than an event with the event button.
Promoting, you could promote your podcast. You could promote, it doesn't have to be, even though a podcast is an event, but there are so many different things that you can promote through the events. And that is one piece of the pie that a lot of people don't use or don't even realize that they should be using and how it works.
So my podcast birthday is coming up at the end of the month. So maybe I'll do some sort of an event that promotes the podcast.
Yes, do a birthday party for sure, anniversary, or yes, you definitely need to. That's a great way to get that information out, and then it benefits you as well to use an event.
All right. I mean, I could just continue to ask you questions like this because people love free advice and all that. So one more social media tip, and then we're going to find out how people can find you, because it's probably just easier to hire you than do all this shit themselves.
Well, I think that for sure. So one more tip, your cover photo should definitely have a call to action on it. And if you can...
So the cover photo is the banner at the top of all of the social media platforms.
Exactly. So it is important to use all the real estate the best way you can. And so that is a huge piece of real estate at the top of the page, where you should definitely be telling people who you are, what you do, and how they can benefit from you. So you need some kind of call to action on your cover banner.
So real quick, if anybody wants to go take a look, you can look on either my Twitter account, which is just @TomSinger, or you can look on LinkedIn. And I actually redid my cover photo, and I did it with actually my phone number on it, because like LinkedIn doesn't let you post a phone number and some other stuff, and it doesn't necessarily have that call to action, but it talks, because I have two careers. I work in executive search, and then I have my speaking and my podcasting world. I use terms that could kind of go like business strategist and some things that could go into both lanes of my life. And there's a picture of me giving my TEDx talk. And since I changed that banner, I've had several dozen people say, wow, I like your banner, which means, if nothing else, that means people are noticing when you're doing something different than just like a picture of the skyline.
Oh my. And that is so true. And then here's the last tip I'm going to give you.
Bonus tip. Bonus tip.
You should be changing it. It shouldn't be the same thing. You should mix it up, like every quarter, like create a new one. And again, still have that call to action in there, but use a different picture with it. And like you said, look how many people reached out to you and noticed that you had changed it and said,
I was surprised how many people liked it. And I paid someone to do it. It wasn't me just, noodling around myself. And as soon as I put it up, like, I was just getting like direct messages from people who said, maybe some of them were asking me another question, but a couple of them were just like, wow, I like, where did you do that? Or how did you do that?
Yeah. And that's a great way to create conversation.
And a little extra bonus tip from me: when you're creating that banner that goes across the top, you also have to look at how does it size for your computer and your phone, because they also have your profile picture, that circle, and that circle will cover up your call to action if you don't put it in the right place.
That is so important. Yes. Always be mindful of where you're putting it. Also your sizing, because your cover photo and your cover banner are two different things, and they come in two different sizes.
Absolutely.
So you need to be mindful of that.
All right. Teresa, how do people find you and Bluebonnet Visual Branding?
So you can Google me, Bluebonnet Visual Branding. You can go to my website, which you can break down to bluebvb.com, or you can type out the full Bluebonnet Visual Branding. That is the best way to find us. We are also on LinkedIn, so multiple ways. My phone number is 512-557-4900. Feel free to call me anytime. I am more than glad to just have a conversation and see how I can help you. And then from there, we offer a free 30-minute webinar with anybody, and it's kind of a strategy planning session. We go through and we give you all the tips and tricks that you should be doing and what you should be doing to get what you are looking to do. And so we give you all that information, and then we let you either decide that you can come on board and let us do it for you, or you can take our information and do it yourself.
Well, I mean, just what you shared today, I mean, there's really actionable stuff that executives can do or have someone in their company do to make sure that they're taking it up at least a notch. And if you want to go up lots of notches, you can hire a professional like Teresa.
Yeah. And right now, people are not driving around looking for businesses with the situation that we're in the world. People are going online and Googling. And so if your Google presence is not super robust, you are not going to get found. And that is not a good thing.
That's right. So we're titling this episode, Google My Business with Teresa Touchstone. You need to go make sure that you're Googling your business and that you've taken advantage of that and that you're managing your social media, etc. Teresa, thank you for being on the show.
Tom, I am so grateful, and this has been such a pleasure to visit with you. You are a very interesting person yourself.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in. I say it every episode. If it wasn't for the audience, we wouldn't have a podcast. If you don't listen, why would we do the show? Audience is growing. Since we changed the name to Making Waves at Sea Level, we've started to get more listeners. So go tell some friends, because everyone who finds the show tells me they heard about it from word of mouth. So if you know somebody right now, go and tell them. I'm waiting. All right. Thank you for telling them. And come back in a couple of days where we'll have an interview with somebody just as interesting and just as cool as Teresa Touchstone. And you're thinking, how is that possible? But we always do it. And in the meantime, go out there and make some waves of your own. Make sure that your career ladder is against the right wall. Don't climb your career ladder and find out it was in the wrong place. While you're out there, try some new things and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Making Waves at Sea Level podcast. Without your listening to these in-depth conversations, there would be no show. Connect with Tom at tomsinger.com and follow him on Twitter and Instagram at tomsinger.